I still carry around your motherfucking coloring book everywhere I go around the world and draw in it occasionally. So fuck off.
What's up, everybody?
It's the takeover.
You guys are doing this wrong.
What do you mean?
What's up, girl gang? He said, what do you mean?
I think that was
funny.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
It's the takeover.
What's up, girl gang? Welcome to the girls' room. Hello, boys.
What's going on?
I'm so thirsty with that big ass fucking jug.
I'm...
Wake up, it's the first of the month.
We already had a couple drinks because why not?
Why not?
Why not? It's Sunday and it's really rare I get to hang out with my friends. I'm with two of my very best friends in the entire world that support me in everything I do, and I couldn't be more grateful.
How sweet.
Aww.
I listen every week.
He listens every week. He will only listen to this episode.
I will. I'm like Johnny Depp. I don't watch my own work.
So he will listen to 0 episodes. But he does support me, and that's why he's here. So I thought it would be really fun to get two of my boys in here so we can dive into their big, stupid brains and see what is not going on up there.
Perhaps the wrong person to reference.
Give the do's and don'ts.
Johnny Depp, actually. Give it the name of the podcast.
First of all, Johnny Depp was very innocent.
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 Not guilty.
Not guilty. He is not the father.
We're already going to get comments on
She did call him daddy, though.
So let's start with like foundation. So like our friendship is long-standing. It's been over 10 years since we met, and honestly they say you don't meet your best friends when you're partying because everyone's fake, but I beg to differ because I have made lifelong friends from going out and being a complete imbecile.
Well, it's the 1%.
Yes.
That's what you got to think about.
Yeah.
You come in contact with
Yeah.
hundreds and thousands of people.
Right.
It's the 1%. That's the way I look at it.
And not only that, it's super hard when you're like meeting all these people and they're like influences and you're drinking, you're partying. Some
Right.
people are like in their toxic phase. Some people are like in their
Some people
healing
never
phase.
left their toxic phase.
Exactly.
Right out of my
I feel
mouth.
like the 3 stages of life are all right at this stage.
Yeah. The 3 stages of life are definitely at this count.
What the fuck is
And
this?
1 of 3 is toxic. We could guess who.
It's water. Sparkling.
You just outed yourself.
It's okay. I want
But-
them to know.
Yeah, people feel like when you're going out and you're in like this lust of life where you're just partying like an animal, that you can't meet people and form real relationships, and it definitely is hard, but we are living proof that you can.
And I would say it's probably a rare thing though, because
Yeah.
you know, I could say that I met hundreds of people in nightlife that you know, as time goes on, you know, they phase out, they go and they're hanging out with other groups, and you know, people lose touch, and there's really no need to rekindle things. But we sometimes, me and Joey sometimes don't speak for a whole week, a couple of weeks, and
Same.
we kick off right where things left off.
Right.
Yeah,
I really don't. I speak to you the most.
Yeah.
Like ancient Egypt did back in the day with photographs.
In hieroglyphics.
Exactly.
He said hieroglyphics.
Modern day ones, you know what I mean, on Instagram.
Modern day ones for Joey are still pretty prehistoric.
But like,
It's like-
I don't speak to you.
Well,
That
now
often.
we talk more.
You and I speak weekly,
Because
yeah, we speak more.
Ed listens to my podcast every week. I've shouted him out before on here because he gives me really good critiques, and then
Oh,
like,
fuck, I gave you a good, you didn't shout me out.
you didn't ever listen, Joe.
I didn't listen, but I gave you tips
You
on how to
can't-
grow it.
Okay,
But I don't get a shout out for that.
you're here. That's your shout out.
Oh, word?
She's throwing you an olive branch.
Oh, you're throwing me a bone today.
I'm doing you a bone. Give a dog a bone.
Leave the dog alone.
I don't think we're gonna get through this episode. No one's gonna be able to understand us. But yeah, it's true. Oh, it's true. See, the water fell. We don't need to talk every day, every week, every hour, any of that. But it's always like we just picked up where we left off, and I feel like with Joey, he works in nightlife, so he has an excuse to be very much engulfed in it. And anytime I see him, I'm like, I don't know who any of these fucking people are.
Same.
Like,
I went to a party that he was throwing like a couple weeks back, and usually when I used to go out, I knew everyone.
Yeah,
now I
same.
knew like 5 people, and I was like, I don't want to talk to 4 of the 5
I'm
people.
lucky if I know 5 now, if I show up to support him at an event. And just, you know, he's like the GOAT of nightlife. We have seen him really turn this into a career.
I remember when he made the decision.
I remember when he quit, I was standing next to him.
Yeah, I remember when he was
in
like,
Detroit.
I'm not sure what I'm going to do.
He used to work for a law office as a paralegal, right?
Yeah, when I was early 20s.
Yeah, and we were at a music festival in Detroit, and he literally looked at me. We went together on that trip, and he said, I want to do this shit for the rest of my life. I'm quitting. And
I was there also, no?
Yeah.
I was
Were
there that
you?
year, yeah. That Detroit year, I went there.
I don't remember much of that trip, but I remember that because I was like, are you really quitting your job?
I remember a couple of times when I was going to die. That's about all I remember.
I remember being disappeared a couple times.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a tendency to disappear when I'm on trips and wind up with them, but everybody thinks that I'm missing.
Joey always disappears like right when we're leaving.
Because you don't want to go home.
I don't want to go home. I want to avoid that.
I disappeared in Miami for WMC, which if you guys don't know, that was like a really big music festival in Miami. Do they still do it, or is it just Miami Music Week?
It's just renamed, but
Yeah,
it's the same thing.
but it's not the same.
It's not the same.
It's
but
not the
kinda
same. It was
It's
the
not
best.
the same as that time you disappeared, though, for sure.
They basically just combined the 2 different shows.
Yeah.
So it was
Ultra
Miami
and
Music
Winter
Week
Music
Ultra
Congress.
and WMC, and now it's Miami
just
Music
Miami
Week and
Music Week.
Ultra.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they still
Pretty
do
much,
Ultra.
yes.
Yeah. So this, I used to go every year. It was like at the end of March, which was my birthday's in March, so I would always go. And one year I went and I broke my phone and literally just fucking vanished.
That was like a nightmare.
I vanished for 4 days. My best friend Candace like couldn't find me. She was calling Danielle, my friend Danielle, who's also insane, and nobody knew where I was. And I had a burner phone from Walgreens, and Candace was like calling my dad, like, I can't find Clarissa, I don't know where she is. And my dad was like, she's fine. I know that she's fine. She's just insane. And I was fine, but I was with them for like 4 days. They were staying in like the Jersey Shore house.
Were?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
They were staying in
I
the
forgot
Jersey
about
Shore
that.
house, which was also
South Beach.
Yes, which was funny. So I was good. I had my little burner. I had no shoes.
I feel like I fell asleep in you.
And then we lost you at some point, I remember.
Me?
Like you were lost with us,
And
and then you disappeared. And I remember, like, where the fuck is this broad? And then I just, like, a day later, I see you coming in. Remember? I, like...
Well, they found me in a bathtub.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Was that Karoo and Y or something like that?
Ice Palace.
Ice Palace,
Yes.
exactly. Yes, yes.
They found me in a bathtub.
And
Everyone
that picture's
found
infamous now.
that picture's infamous. I'll insert it. There's a few pictures.
Was that the inspiration of like your podcast photo?
No, but actually now that makes sense. Yes. See, Ed's keeping tabs on me.
I don't know about you and Joey. I think you met Joey a year before, but you and I probably known each other almost 14 years now.
Yeah.
Because I was in my mid-20s when we met.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Wow.
It's crazy. I don't even know how many years it's been. I know it's been over 10.
The crazy part is there was a time that like I blocked your number from my phone because I was like, I'm not talking to this fucking girl. Like, she fucking pisses me off.
Shocking. Ed is easily angered.
I feel like I'm very confident.
I'm easily aroused.
Shocking. That's the wind blows the right way.
Exactly. Something needs to blow.
Every other week somebody's like the wind.
Isn't that a song?
Yes,
She's like the wind.
Yeah.
We are in very different stages of life. Ed is engaged, having a baby, has an amazing job. It's been really beautiful to watch his evolution as a person. He's still the same person. He wants that to be clear.
Just a little docile down.
He's just, no, you have evolved. That's evolvement. He's
like a dormant volcano.
Exactly.
He's like, when I met you, you were like an electrician, and then you were a driver, and then now he's got this really good job. He's super successful. He's met a beautiful girl. He's having a baby. He's engaged, and it's like a different phase of life, which is always honestly really beautiful to just watch your friends grow in all different directions, but still be able to like be friends and connect and like celebrate each other like they're celebrating me right now in this podcast and supporting my hopes and dreams. And then Joey, he's
evolved in a different way.
He's evolved as a businessman. He's evolved as a creative. He's evolved as like just like a powerhouse in like your industry. Truly, like a workaholic, always shows up. It's the nature of the job is to be going out. Like that's part of the business is that you're out, you're socializing. Obviously, you're gonna be having drinks. Like I could never do his job. I'd be in rehab. Like I would be fully like a drug addict in rehab if I did. He's like,
there's gonna be comments now that marker. He's a drug addict.
High functioning. But it's been really cool to like watch both of you come up in a different way because I think in a way like we were all kind of like.
And we come from the same place.
Right.
Like me and Joey grew up in the same neighborhood.
Literally, yeah.
You know, we're friends now, best friends now for 20 years.
Yeah.
So
very similar living environment.
Yeah.
Family.
Yeah, same upbringing,
Yeah.
same background.
Yeah.
We went to the same high school.
In the mud together.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the age difference?
I'm 3 years older than Joey.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you are?
I don't know, I'm 34, I can't do math.
Yeah, so I'm 5 years older than you.
So you're like my brother's 39.
Yeah, I'm gonna be 39 this summer.
Okay, yeah, and you're...
I'm 35.
No, my brother's gonna be 40 next month, so yeah, you guys are like almost...
I turned 30.
You're how much?
35.
How much?
How much?
Very nice, huh? He's about 50 cents on a good night. But it's really cool to watch, like, I don't know, like, for lack of a better word, I feel like we're like misfits. Like, definitely rebellious, definitely a rebellious spirit.
I like to think we're unpredictably predictable.
You are so fucking predictable. I can call every fucking move you are gonna make.
But then there's one time I'll just catch you off guard.
What, when you didn't go out last night? That was the one time that caught me off guard.
I went out, but I went home.
You did go out.
Before the party started, I left.
So I told Joey I'm not doing this podcast if he's going out the night before because
I have to go out. It's part of the business. You just got finished talking about it.
I know, but like when I meant being like fucked up.
Yeah, no, I didn't get fucked up.
He did.
I only had 3 months.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair.
I was really proud, to be fair. I was like, ready to
sound like a
cancel.
fucking alcoholic.
I don't have a response.
It's water.
I feel like alcoholics go to meetings.
Exactly.
So
It looks kind of like a small meeting right now.
Is this actually an intervention? You guys are just watching it.
seriously though, honestly, for Joey especially, like, you know, we've all kind of evolved into our own things, and like I was in nightlife with Joey for I think about 9 years until I decided I didn't want to do it anymore. I left, but he stuck through it, and it's not an easy life to live.
Yeah, no.
So it might look great on Instagram, and you know everybody knows who Joey is, but it's a grind. Like I come to work, I work 10-hour days, and I'm tired, and you know sometimes I'm talking to Joey, and he's worked 16-hour days.
Oh yeah.
And he gets up before me,
He's
and he's like, "Let's keep going," and I'm like.
That like same energy that's like at when he's out and partying, where it's like he's just out and he's like, let's keep going.
The focus is like
that focus,
the same.
exactly. So he's up at 5 in the morning,
Yeah.
like going to the gym. Like I'm in my fucking 12th dream of the night, and he's still going. So it's just like the mentality is just like to go hard.
Well,
In every aspect, which is a good thing.
everybody believed in me, so how can I let them down?
Aww.
The
We
people
do
that are
believe
here
in you.
and not here with me.
Unfortunately, Joey and I have experienced a lot of the same things throughout our entire life. I've done that Joey's not is I've gotten married and I'm now engaged again. So I'm like going back into a marriage.
Yeah, so Ed's on round 2, so you can tell how old he is. And
exactly.
And
but he got married pretty young though.
I did.
I think I got married at what? I was 20 going to be 26.
Yeah, I warmed you guys up a little bit so that you can get to know these two, but now I kind of want to dive into something.
Really warmed up.
I feel like I talk a lot about mental health on this podcast, and I think that it's really nice to get insight on how other people handle their stress and all of the life changes that they might be going through. With Ed, you know, having a child unexpectedly, right? Yeah, unexpectedly, and embracing that, and embracing like this next chapter that's coming along. And, you know, I think when that time in life comes, you're letting go of like another part of you, you know, because now you are...
I'm not the main character anymore.
Exactly. Neither of you are the main character anymore, and it's about something else. And I would love to know like how you felt like when you knew, and how it's changed, and what it's changed in you, and how you think you're gonna like push forward. And he's very excited about it, but it's just a huge change, like for anybody, whether you're trying, not trying, it doesn't matter. When a kid is coming, it's like your whole life is now different.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And anybody that knows me knows that like for nearly my entire existence, I was very against having kids. And I didn't want to say that. I never felt like I was in a place where I could provide to have a child, right? Obviously, you know, I was married in the past, and that was one of the topics that, you know, when you're married is always kind of floating around, and there's always something that people expect to come. But me and my ex-wife, we got married super young, and I was barely taking care of myself. In my 20s. Like most people are, right? And especially in New York, it's super hard just to survive here.
My dad had me at 28, and I'm like, I cannot, and he was a full-blown alcoholic. And I'm like, I cannot even, I'm 34, and it's shocking to me to think about bringing a child.
Yeah, so for me, it's always been a situation where I'm like, one, I didn't really see I enjoyed the life I was living, right? Like, in my 20s, Joey and I were still very much entwined with doing a lot of things that were reckless and partying and all this other stuff, having the time of our lives. So
completely safe.
Yeah. To imagine in my 20s that I was going to have to be responsible and raise something that I basically created with another person was just like unfathomable to me. I couldn't even think of doing it. And I probably wasn't in a mental space, you know. I didn't have a bad marriage. Me and my ex-wife didn't really like fight really crazy. We had our moments of like extreme fights, but I feel like when we got married, we were a little calmer. But still,
I'm gonna respectfully disagree.
Fair. Listen, I'm old, so
I'm gonna respectfully disagree.
Yeah. But yeah, I just didn't have the mental capacity to think about like raising a child. I was basically trying to figure out how I was going to be successful, and that's really all I cared about at that time.
Right.
So I was, you know, like you said, I was an electrician, I was doing that, I was doing well, but I wasn't happy. The same way you kind of do your hair, and that's not really like...
It's not my thing.
It's not engaging anymore, so you just kind of like do your thing now. But as I get older, I don't really party that much anymore. I don't really feel like, when I was young, I'm like, oh, I would go nuts if I didn't go out. Like, I'm like, if people were out and I wasn't out, I'm like, I need to be out.
I could relate.
But now it's like, I don't even know what's going on.
Same.
At all. So I'm in a different place, and I've been fortunate to have been doing what I do now for 4 years, and I have had some success. I hope to have more. So I'm in a place where I'm financially in a pretty good place.
Right.
Where the thought of like being responsible for a child isn't like scary.
Right.
It's like, I've been through crazy shit.
Right.
Like,
you have.
I thought I was going to die. You know, a million things have happened to me.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, and I feel like I've gone through so many...
I feel like we got to talk about that, because you almost died before your bachelor party.
Oh, God.
In abuse.
Yeah. I didn't almost die. I had my like ruptured stones in my gallbladder.
So they went to Ibiza for Ed's bachelor, right?
My bachelor.
Yes, and Ed literally
on the way to the airport.
On the way to the airport. You guys can tell the story, because I wasn't there, but I couldn't fucking believe it, because only Only them would this happen to.
Yeah, so it was the day of, we were supposed to fly to Ibiza. It was my bachelor party. And I had like these pains in my side, and I'm like, what's happening here? And I thought it was nothing. I thought it was like gas pains. I maybe ate something the day before. I didn't feel great, whatever the case would be. So I took like Gas-X. Everybody's like, oh, take Gas-X. You're probably just like,
you just got
something's wrong. Yeah, something's wrong. I took that, and it was a grenade. Like, throw it into like the field, mass casualties, and I was just dying in pain. On the way to the airport, I literally told my fiance at the time, I was like, turn around and go to the nearest hospital. And she was like, what happened? I was like, you need to go to the hospital because I can't think that's how much the pain was hurting. So I ended up going to the hospital. It turned out that I had ruptured stones in my gallbladder.
Those are painful.
Yeah, they had to do an emergency surgery. Then after the recovery, the doctor comes in and is like, I got good news and bad news. I'm like, all right, what's the news? He's like, good news is we completely removed it. You're going to be fine. The bad news is you can't fly for 10 days. So...
And they already...
Joey and
our other
Bubba
friends,
and our friend Joe Scarpati was already in Ibiza.
Yes.
Like, they flew out, you know...
They were like, we're going to get there early.
Like, feel better, guys. We'll make sure no one...
They were like, we want to set up the balloon and the penis floats.
Yeah, exactly.
Penis float. What the fuck you talking
I
about?
think Bachelorette
It was a
party.
joke. Right over your head.
So anyway, he said I couldn't fly for 10 days. And now I'm thinking, shit, I'm not going to make my bachelor party. So I have my fiance at the time put it in a document and like edit the document saying I can't leave for 24 hours after surgery. And then I get on a plane with like forged documents, and I'm in Ibiza like 3 days after surgery, which is like, I find out later is super dangerous, like when you have surgery.
Shocking.
There's like air bubbles that can rupture in your body and cause major problems. To be fair, problems now, so who knows.
Good thing you're a tank, I guess.
But yeah, so
It was a fun week though.
it was.
I love Ibiza. I want to go back.
Yeah, those are good times. I've gone 6 times. You've gone, I think, 8 times, right?
Yeah.
I think you had 2 times.
I went once for my friend Lauren.
Yeah.
We went once and like we weren't there long enough. I want to go for mine.
To be fair, me and Joey, our first time, we got pretty good.
I got really sick because, well, this is a story I might have to cut out, but we got there and then we went out. We went to Ushuaia, I think was the first night, and Lauren booked a table because Joey told us, like, you need a table there.
Ushuaia's very busy.
Yeah, so he helped me with planning. He helped Amanda because it was her best friend, planning like that whole trip.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a table at
That's the hot one,
Ushuaia.
right?
Yeah, and it was Calvin Harris, which isn't like my favorite, but we were like, fuck it, we're in Ibiza. Like, yeah, so we're like, we couldn't do a lot of the things we wanted to do because of the days we were there. Like, we couldn't do DC 10 because of the way
That's like my favorite club.
I want to go back because I want to do that.
Yeah.
So she booked the table there, and we're there. We met with the wolf. Best time ever had in my life. We leave, and our Airbnb is like right across the street, basically from Pasha.
Yeah.
So we're like, we have to go to Pasha, like R.I.P. Pasha. We go to Pasha. We're there. What's his name? John Paul was spinning, and we like bully our way into the front because John Pierre, yes, because all the like Napoli Italians are violent and they get very angry, and we're like pushing our way. We get in the front of the booth with John Pierre, and like we're so fucked up. We're all like holding the fucking booth like this, and we're just like this. And then it's like 7 a.m. and we're like, oh my god, we have a boat tomorrow. We like had a boat that was going to Formentera. We missed our like, I'm texting the guy and I'm like, I'm so sorry, like I just cannot keep it right now. And he's like, listen, you can have lunch on the boat and then I have to bring you back, or I can leave you in Formentera and you can take the ferry back. So we're like, just leave us in Formentera because we want to enjoy it. So he literally dropped us on the beach and we all passed out, and then we had dinner at that place you told us to watch the sunset.
Sunset of Shram?
Yeah, I don't know. You told me, and we cried, and they played Andrea Bocelli while the sun was setting, and it was like beautiful. I love Ibiza.
That's crazy. I told Joe to listen to that song.
I love
Where were
vermicelli.
you? You were where when I told you to listen to that?
What?
You were on vacation. I told you to listen to that song, that Italian guy.
Andrea Bocelli?
That Italian guy.
Conte
Conte Partido, that's what they play at that restaurant.
I don't think I ever got to the point of where I was saying.
No.
We just totally
We
weird.
totally did
Well,
that.
that's what
We just
happened.
we tunneled into like the club.
Sorry, we like literally made a hard left.
You asked about mental health, then I'm gonna do with Molly and Pee-wee.
I can't.
When did Ed become our dad?
Not no one's dad.
You are someone's
You're someone's dad now.
You're literally a dad.
I can't. From 2023 onward, I'm giving no one advice.
That's a lie.
No, I give you stuff for the show, but I'm talking about like life advice.
Well, I don't need life advice.
No one takes advice. So, I'm actually pretty good at giving advice.
I think you are for my show. But life advice, I can
No.
give you advice.
I think anybody can give anyone life advice.
No,
It's all a
I
matter-
disagree. It's a bad
I
way.
usually don't give bad advice.
No, you're pretty good sometimes.
Yeah, no, it's perfect. But whatever the case may be, like I'm in a totally different place. I don't really party. I'm way more level-headed. I'm focused on work almost all the time now. I don't think about like, oh, what party am I gonna miss? I don't know who's playing ever. I only ever go out if Joey's like, oh, this is a big event for
Yes.
us, and I'm like, oh, I'll
Me
show
too.
up to support. But outside of that, I'm not waiting to hear a set.
Me too, yeah.
So I'm excited for this. You know, right now my life solely consists of work. So it'd be nice to go home and, you know, be excited to see the baby and, you know, my fiance. And I'd like a stay-at-home mom after the baby's born.
Really?
Yeah. For the first
For a little
2 years, she'll be home.
So you bringing home the money, honey.
Well, yeah, and not only that, it just doesn't make sense.
But it's so expensive.
What
to
it
even-
costs now
yeah.
to put a
It's like
child in
salary.
daycare is
Yeah.
most people's salary.
Yeah,
So
no, it costs
just
more.
doesn't-
It's the same amount for one parent to stay home than it is to outsource.
And if I was going to have my daughter raised by anybody, I'd rather it be her mom.
Of course, yeah.
So it just makes the most sense
That's-
for us to go down that route.
Yeah,
So
I have a lot of clients that like I've talked about that with, where they're like,
yeah,
it just makes sense
insane.
for one of us to just be there because the child's care is like literally a full salary in New York of like
Yeah.
another person,
Yeah,
and it's crazy.
It's so insane. And you know, I live in Jersey now, but even Jersey is
It's
the same.
The tri-state
It's the
area,
same,
yeah,
same
it's
exact.
crazy.
But I'm excited. Yeah, it's going to
I'm
be a
excited
cool
for you.
experience.
I can't wait to
I'm
be
getting
a
a-
titi.
I'm
I'm
getting
having
a
two. I'm being a titi to two.
That's it.
My brother's having a baby. My other brother's having a baby. They're both named Ed. They're both having girls. It's crazy. And me and Joey are just, you know,
Chilling
childless and chilling.
for a while.
Well, you've reached a fork in the road where you knowingly.
Well, we can have a kid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no, we definitely are talking about it. It's just different.
That's great.
It's a different process, and it's expensive.
Not to get
Definitely
too
a different
personal.
process.
Are you thinking adopt, or are you thinking
No,
artificial
we wanted
insemination?
to. So what we really wanted to do was where I would carry like my egg and we'd have we want 2 kids if we're gonna have kids.
Okay.
So I would have the baby, my egg would be one baby, and then
Her
we would put her egg in me and have another baby. So I'd basically be a surrogate because
Yeah.
I want to carry. She doesn't necessarily want to carry, you know.
Yeah.
So ideally what we would like, it's called reciprocal IVF. It's basically like I'm a surrogate though, and I would have her egg with the same sperm, but it's so expensive.
The same
To
male
use the same
genetics.
sperm and
Yeah.
then each one biological egg of each.
I always find that super interesting because it's
Yeah.
like, you know, you're reading data. You don't
Yes.
see the person, you don't
No,
know if they
you
have a
can see
temper.
them. No.
Yeah, but you don't know. if they
No,
have a
you don't
temper.
know them, but like you're getting genetical testing, you're getting baby pictures, present pictures, career, personality, like as best as you can, you know. But it's crazy because I think there's even like science now where you can like split an egg, where it's your egg and the other person's eggs, but obviously it's a lot of money.
I would feel like that would just create, like, that's
I'm
not
good
something
with
that's
one
like
egg
far.
each.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not something that's like far along enough where I'd be like, do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you want to have like, you know, you have like a kid with green and red eye, and it's weird.
All right.
Like just something that's like not normal.
Not the red eye. But that's like what we're thinking about doing. But obviously, right now, like we want to like get a house, like kind of settle into life a little bit. We're not 20, like, you know, I'm not older, but like, I'm 34, like, my marker for this was 30, and like, me being in my 20s, thinking that 30 was like so far away, and like all of this stuff, like, and then 30 comes, and you're like, if you're me, you're like, oh shit, I'm a lesbian actually.
I feel like
life changes, and then your trajectory of your life is completely different. And for me, and now it's like a whole different game. My life plan was to get pregnant by accident, and like that's how I would have a kid. Like in my 30s, like I would just be with a partner, get pregnant, and then be like, oh, okay, we're having a kid. Like that was like my thing.
That was your plan?
That was my life.
Her plan was to not have the plan.
Yes, exactly. Because I never have plans. You know how I am. I'm like kind of on the fly, just in my life in general. Like, so that was like my plan was no plan, and now I have to plan for this. We don't have a choice. So it's so different to like think about it in a way that's like logical, because I'm really just not logical. I am very logical, but I'm like, in that sense, I just was like, oh, fuck it. Like, I'll have a baby by mistake. I'll be with someone I like, and I'll have a kid with them.
Yeah, just figure it out.
And just figure it out. And now it's like, no, like, we actually have to plan for it, budget for it, like, and straight couples do too, obviously, if they can't get pregnant with IVF, and if they have problems, it's something that many women like deal with now. But so it's just a different phase of life that you're coming into now, and I'm figuring out in a sense, in some way, and Joey's avoiding it at all costs.
I'm not avoiding it.
Do you want kids?
At some point, I want to have a kid.
What's some point? Like,
in my early 40s.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not ready now because I'm not ready to. It's not like I'm avoiding having a baby or a serious relationship where I'm like taking marriage or anything the next step. It's that I'm not ready financially.
You could argue that nobody's ready.
That's true, but I have much bigger goals for myself.
Like what?
Like I look in the mirror in the morning, I'm competing against myself all the time. And there's always people out there, in addition, trying to take literally food out of my mouth. Right. So like I always feel like I'm at war with not only myself, but legitimately with the business that I'm in.
Right.
So like I don't feel, and I also need to have the right partner at the same time. And truthfully, none of the partners I've ever been with have felt right. Right. So, you know, it's a little bit different in my perspective for me. You know?
What do you feel like is like the right partner? Because I feel like as a woman, your job is so hard for like someone to step into, which I'm sure you've heard that.
Me?
Yeah, like your job, because you're in nightlife. Like,
well,
it's hard.
The difference is though, it's not a job anymore. It's a business. Like for me,
but it's
my business.
It's your livelihood.
Yeah, and I've stepped a lot back from being at the shows. You know, last year we did 150 shows ourselves, self-funded. So it's a lot different than like 10 years ago when I worked for somebody else.
Right.
You know, now we're self-funded. If I don't grind, if I don't make the money, there's nobody there to back me up. There's nobody's going to put the food on the table. I have no fallback. I have no, just for the sake of saying it, I have no parents. I can be homeless if I don't work. So I need somebody who's going to be my partner needs to understand that when I work 16-hour days, 6 days a week.
Right.
That
it's like a necessity.
It's a necessity sometimes that I'm just not going to be super nice, but I'm always there to be generous. I'm never cheap, you know that. I'm always like the people around me always benefit from me because I want them to benefit. That's part of why I do what I do. It's a huge part of it. It's a huge component is to see people smile. Friends or not friends, whether friends get it the most, and a lot of time it's a sacrifice of my own smiles.
Right.
You know, so I trade a lot of, talk about mental health in this business, like especially when you come from a background where you don't have really good mental health, and you throw yourself in this life that I've chosen, which is extremely difficult on the brain, no sleep, constant understanding if anybody's genuine, understanding if the people around you are there to try to be opportunists and so on and so forth. It's not an easy thing. So when you come home, quote unquote, even though I have home office, when you come home and it's time for companionship, you want to make sure that you're secure with the person for that, even if it's a small period of time, even if it's for a day, you want to feel secure that the woman is going to be there for you and understand the struggles and is going to be there for you through thick and thin, and at the same time understands and is appreciative for everything that you provided. And you know, that translates into the future of the baby, right? It's like, is she going to be a good mother? Is she going to be there when I have my dark times? Because they're going to come inevitably for everyone. Sometimes, you know, some people like me, we have darker times, you know, and that's just the nature of my life and who I am. So it's not easy being me. It's not easy for a partner to step into my world, but it's the life I chose. A lot of them, they come and meet me, and then they think it's all fun and games until they realize that it's not. Right. And then it's too late. And it's not my fault some of the times.
Yeah, I was going to say.
and it's not really their fault either, but, you know, when you meet someone in a certain atmosphere, you have this, like, especially meeting someone like Joey that has a pretty big presence in nightlife, right? Like, you know, it was so funny at my baby shower, like, you know, two people that never really known Joey were like, oh, I know Joey. If you don't know Joey, you don't know anybody. Right. You know, he has a big presence in nightlife. Yeah. So it attracts people that are like...
It attracts the wrong people.
Sometimes. Yes, absolutely. Yes. You're gonna no matter what you do, whether it's low key or high key,
whenever you're vibrating at like a high frequency and you're doing good things, you're like, what do they say? Like, you're like, moths are like drawn to the light. Exactly. So like you're gonna have like the good
a moth to a flame. Exactly.
Yes. I'm never gonna get these sayings right. I'm turning it to my mom. So yeah. So like you're like a light, and I can relate to that in a different way. So like I get it, because people like either want to take that, put your light out, essentially, or they want, like they're drawn to it. They want more from you.
Yeah. And that's why our friendship has been so strong over the years, right? Because we've been together. We've been together. Our relationship
is the longest standing relationship in either of their lives. They're gonna make out now.
outside of family, you know, me and Joey, you know, my ex-wife used to joke about this all the time. Our relationship, we have a long relationship than I have with anyone in my entire life.
It's your longest standing.
We know each other better, I could say, than probably all my family knows me.
For sure.
So that's why it always works out. Like, you know, he's so much in line. I'm not someone that enjoys being in the
like
front.
The shit. Yeah.
In the front. So I could always kind of see, you know, he doesn't always take my advice. I could always kind of see who's playing around for benefit and who's around for
genuine. Well, you and I are like that.
To be genuine.
That we can like read people.
So it's sometimes hard for, you know, for him and for, you know, whoever is, you know, actively pursuing him to kind of really understand that it's not this all the time, right?
Yeah.
So when you see somebody and it's always in the highs, right? You know, they're drinking, they're feeling great, everybody, oh, I love you, you're my boy, my best friend, everybody takes care of everyone. Right. It's hard to see that. And then when you want to get to know someone deeper, realize that there's multiple layers.
Well, that's the thing. It's like people are not like, he's putting his best foot forward. Like it's the mask.
Even on a bad
day. Exactly. It's the mask, which I can relate to that on a different level, because doing hair is like that. Like you have to be on all the time.
You always have to be happy your client.
Yes, you can't be like showing up to your client and being like, oh, just like, I hate you, actually, and I don't want to be here right now.
Like, I can't help you today with that.
Yeah, like, but you have to be like the therapist, the go-to person. Like, you just have to show up for people, and like, it's not easy wearing those hats. And then the people that know you beneath that are like special, and then it's hard to like find someone that you can show like those other like layers to. Like, I've never been with a partner outside of Amanda that I can actually show that I'm like anxious.
Yeah.
That I'm having I'm like really stressed.
And you say that as a woman. Think about us as men. We're expected to be these masculine, handle everything, you know, don't show any weakness. So for us to kind of get on a level with someone, to be comfortable enough to be like, hey, I'm not able to be the
I can't do it right now.
Force here all the time, and sometimes I'm dealing with a million things. And that's hard. And
it's so hard.
You know, and you can find people that you can relate to and be comfortable and speak your mind freely without judgment. But, you know, when you say certain things, whether you say it in confidence or not, you know, if you say it, it's done. You've said it.
Right.
So.
And that's the thing. It's like letting people see like you.
Yeah.
At like every, like, it's true when they say like, you can handle me at my best, but can you handle me at my worst? Because you really don't know like how deep and dark someone's demons might be or whatever it is. And like for men, yes, you guys are held to like a different level of that. Like when you're a provider or it's depending on your relationship, everyone's different. But for you guys, showing up as this like machismo sort of like,
and we're probably one of the last generations where we feel that it is our responsibility to take care of the people that we're with and family. Where now, you know, everybody. You know,
well, now people are a little bit more. Well, I think that I can like actually appreciate the fact that we are like making space for people to say that they're not okay.
Yeah.
Because you have to remember that like you're having a kid, right? Mm-hmm. Like you think about our parents. Like I think about like my mom. Like my dad has always been like, the best, but my mom, like she's an immigrant. She's from a different generation. Yeah. She's older than my dad. There was never a space for me to have like feelings. Like it was always like you're too sensitive, you're too this, you're too that, you're always crying, and I always just was like I'm me. Like I just never could like fight me. Like I just like had to be myself. That was I have a strong personality. If I'm upset, you're gonna know about it, and I don't care what you think. But like for other kids, I think it's nice that people are breaking down those like walls. Like it might be like soft, but like I think that it's like necessary because kids need that.
It goes back to like your podcast. I don't know, it was like 2 or 3 podcasts. Like no one's gonna know that you're going through it unless you tell people you're going through it.
You wouldn't know because you don't listen. But I had this whole episode where I was saying like I turned 34, things I learned in 34 years, and like one of them is like people are not mind readers, and like you have to create, it might sound like whatever, but safe spaces. You need a safe, everybody needs it, whether you think it's soft or anything. Your kids should have a safe space, your family, your best friends. There should be someone that you can go to and say like, I'm not okay, like I'm having like, I'm not okay, like I'm breaking down. And like, you should 100% have that in a partner. And it doesn't mean that you can't provide. It doesn't mean that you're not strong. It doesn't mean that you are weak. It just means actually to me that you are like
living life.
You're in touch with yourself. And you could say like, hey, I need you to like, I need to count on you right now. And like, for me, I never had a partner that I could do that with. Like all the men that I dated was either like toxic or it was just like, I felt like in my last relationship, the way that I verbalized it was the house is on fire every day. Like I come home and the house is on fire.
There's no point that you could ever relax.
No, because there's because the handling of stress on the other end was non-existent. So for me, it was like, okay, I need to like calm you down. I need to let you know everything's okay. And then what happens if we have a kid? I'm going to be the one putting out the fires. You know, when you're an adult and you buy a house, let's say for example, you buy a house, you have kids, you're married. In one day, Candace said this to me and it was like so true. Your kid could break a leg, your water heater could break. These things could happen in one day, and like you're left holding the bag because your partner can't be that strength when you need it. So I think it's like super important to have, and it doesn't need to be a romantic relationship, you know, like it can be a friend. I don't think that our romantic relationships can provide us with everything that we need. It's unrealistic to put that on one person.
But it mostly comes back to strength though. When you're saying like your partner, like God forbid you have a house, you have a kid, the kid breaks a leg, the boiler breaks down, blah, 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 and your partner can't handle it. Therefore, your partner's.
But that's what I'm saying.
But
that's what I'm saying. It's important to have those people around you that can say like, I'm a strong person. Like you guys know me. Like I'm a strong person. You're both strong people. But like Joey can call me and have a complete breakdown if he needs to, and knows that like I'm not judging him. I'm not yelling at him. I'm just listening and just being like, what's going on? What can I do? How can I show up? And I think like that's super important to have in your friendships, in your relationships as you get older and as you evolve as people.
I agree. It's okay to not be okay these days. Yeah. It's more important to be aware if you're not okay and to communicate it. And it's even more important to be honest with yourself before you need to like honest with other people. Like you have to just understand if you're in a really bad place mentally and you know you're about to do something irrational or go spiral. You know, there's some people that can handle it better than others, but at the end of the day, it's always better to forewarn the people that love you that you're just not okay. You're not in a mental state that's you know is going to be beneficial for you or anybody else.
Right.
You know? And I think that it's great that it's common practice these days, and it's not looked down upon as like you're soft. But I think when I say soft, or even when Ed says soft, we're not talking about the same things. You know, it's a different kind of soft.
No, I agree with you. I'm not saying that you're completely wrong. I'm just saying there's like space for like both. I think definitely that like some things are like absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that people can't handle.
Like our last generation, when they had World War II, they went to war, they kissed their wives, they never they were going to see them again. They sailed off.
But that's the thing.
And then
it's
they
like
came back and created things.
But that's
now
the thing, is that we're in a different space, right?
Yeah.
We're not at war. Well, actually,
the world is at war.
The world is at war.
We're in the middle of it all.
We're in a different. What?
I have to piss.
I gotta take a piss.
I have to pee too.
Oh my god.
We'll be right back.
There's 3 bathrooms.
Talking about safe spaces.
Safe spaces.
And like not being like not safe.
And not being safe. That's the opposite of safe. It's not safe. Exactly. Good job. We learned that today. Kids, pay attention.
You also at the same time have to give yourself credit, right? Because I don't think a couple years ago you would have been able to do something like this. No, I'm being honest though, because you had anxiety, you still deal with anxiety. So to put yourself in front of like however many people listen to this podcast, probably once you go viral after this week.
88 subscribers on YouTube, 54 on Spotify.
Nice.
For a nobody, I think that's pretty good.
But it takes really knowing yourself to be comfortable to get in front of a camera and talk about things that are important to you and things that you think might influence other people.
Is OnlyFans next? Once you get comfortable with it, maybe we'll post it?
No, I think like for me, like, thank you for saying that. I don't know, like something just like called to me about doing this. Like, I don't know. I've always been the advice giver for a lot of people. Like, I've always been like a sound advice, whatever. Like, even my dad like asks me for advice. Yeah. Like, I've always just been that for a lot of people. And I think I did hair because I was like good at talking to people through things, because everyone says like your hairdresser is like your therapist. Like, people talk to their barber, their hairdresser, whatever, about like a lot of things that they wouldn't even on a first session wouldn't talk to most people about. And I enjoy like helping people and talking about deep things, and I've been through the things that I talk about. So I don't know, just like, I've said it before on my podcast, I had this idea, literally, I woke up one morning with it. My intuition is like very spot on, and I just woke up, it was December, and I was like, I want to start a podcast called The Girls Room, based on like the Amanda Show, and like, I did it.
What's the Amanda Show?
It was on Nickelodeon, and it was Amanda Bynes.
Did you end up watching that documentary?
I haven't.
It's intense.
I know. I'm like scared to watch it because she spoke out about the things that were done to her years ago on Twitter. She had put out a bunch of tweets saying that she was abused and like all of this stuff, and nobody listened to her. And,
I saw I didn't watch it, but Nickelodeon.
On set, but she's not quiet on set.
Quiet on set.
But she wasn't in it, and she had said like, I loved Amanda Bynes growing up. Like, she was like the funny girl. She was pretty. She was like, for me, that like related. I've always had a personality and been goofy and like cute. I was never like the hot girl, which I was fine with because I love being funny.
No,
like,
kind of.
Thanks for the kinda.
You said you weren't at all. I wish I gave you a kind of.
No, I was pretty. I'm not saying I was
You're
ugly.
still pretty.
Thank you. And that was Amanda Bynes. Like, she did funny movies. She showed her personality. She was basically doing, the Amanda Show was like SNL of kids. So she was doing like skits, and the girls' room was one of the skits in the girls' bathroom. And I just like woke up with this idea, literally. And it's nice to hear you say that because, you know, I do feel like a growth in myself that people could like relate to, like the life changes, like.
And anyone that's listened from like episode 1 to now,
right,
has it's clear like the leaps you take each show.
Thank you.
So bravo to you, right?
Thank you. Letting people know that like you don't have to have the same job forever, like. You don't, and you're a testament to that too. Like, you know, you don't have to, unless you want to, you know, you don't have to fall into like the guidelines of like whatever society tells you that you should do, and that falls for you too. Like, you don't have to be married, you don't have to have children, you don't have to be in a job for 20 years that you fucking hate. Because how many people do you know that are in a job, people's parents, like, we're just waiting to retire, waiting for Friday every week. Like, I don't want to wait for Friday every fucking week to feel excited about something. Like, I want to wake up every day and be excited about what I'm doing and feel like I'm living a life that I want to live that's also providing for me. Yeah. And doing hair was just like not it for me anymore. And I had such fear around it to tell my boss, to like, for people to say like, well, like, what are you doing? Because I am self-taught in everything that I'm doing. Like, just trying to like make something change. And then there's weeks like last week where I just like, I physically didn't have it. I was so like burnt out because now I'm working, like I'm wearing like 5 different hats. I'm doing a podcast, I'm working in the salon. I have clients that I manage for social media. I have brands that I make content for, and like,
you're an entrepreneur.
Yeah, and I was burnt out, and then I had other things going on that were emergencies, and I couldn't show up last week to record an episode, and I had to like really tell myself like that it's okay, like you're allowed to feel overwhelmed and burnt out, because I have shown up even when I do feel like that. So for me to really say like, it's not going to be quality, I can't do it this week, I'm stretched super fucking thin right now, I can't do it. And yeah, just being able to like recognize that, which I'm sure like you feel burnout a lot with working the amount you do, and I'm sure you do too, especially once you have a baby, like balancing work and life and hustle culture, especially all of us being born in New York.
I feel like, as you get older, or at least for me, as I've gotten older, the word hustle has evolved and motivation becomes irrelevant, and it's more about the
discipline.
grit. It's grit, it's discipline. It's like when you were bred to your only option is to win. It's no longer like, I need to be motivated. I need to hustle. It's a hustle.
Well,
hustle.
motivation
run. It's
bullshit.
irrelevant. It runs out. It's about grit. Like that's the only thing that can keep me going 15, 16, 17 hours a day. And then have to go out sometimes at night and be at the venue and smile. It's about grit. It's like when you have to win because people depend on you, and it's not like it's cool to hustle. Nobody cares.
Right.
Work harder, like for yourself.
Right.
Stop posting it on Twitter. It's like generally, in my experience, the people that are always like, "Oh, I'm working," they usually work the least, or they're not effective.
Right.
You know, and it's all bullshit at the end of the day.
Well, everybody's
you know?
like putting on this like facade
that's
all
it
the
is.
time, and they want like awards for doing things that are like whatever.
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes it's hard to like recognize like actually I do work really hard, and like I do deserve.
There's also
a
a difference.
like,
there's also a difference between working hard and doing busy work. It's
right.
It's like, are you working? If you're working hard, are you making a difference for anybody, for yourself, for your community, for your significant other, for your family, for your business, for your future? Are you really doing it, or are you just like creating more work for yourself so that you can kind of feel like you're busy? Are you doing 15 calls a day, but are you really achieving anything that's going to benefit you in the long run? Are you then you're not really working. You're not really doing anything to better yourself. There's a difference between working hard and hardly working. It's like a fine line these days, because you can have 15 calls a day, but did you attain anything? Has it changed your goal? Like it got you closer to your goals? And I think that's a really important thing nobody really talks about, is like, because the culture now is just like, you need to be working, but what are you really doing? Like,
and not only that, I feel like now people feel the need to let everybody know that they're hustling.
Yes.
Like back in the day, you hustled until you made it, and then everyone took notice.
Well,
now I feel like people want to get praised for hustling.
Right. Well, it's the thing. It's the age of social media. Like, of putting every move you're doing out there. Like, I can't tell you how many people that like have asked me like, well, since when do you do like a podcast, or since when do you, and it's because like
16
I didn't period. But like ask me like, oh, you don't do hair anymore, you don't do this, and it's like I don't broadcast on my podcast. I talk about the changes I've been through.
You literally broadcast. That's what part of the podcast is.
Well, but I broadcast on my podcast, but I'm saying I don't broadcast like every move. Like, so only the people that are close to me know. Like, actually, this has been in the making, in the works. She hasn't been happy. She's been trying to figure out a next move for years.
Yeah.
It just she hasn't figured out what it is. And it's because, people are so motivated by an applause. Like, they're motivated by people giving them their flowers, by them acknowledging. And they want validation in, like, what they're doing. They want someone to say, like, good job. Like,
we've all been there, and I've taken a huge step back from that. I really don't like being the front man anymore. I did. But that's because you
got older.
Yeah, I got older. I truly don't. It makes me uncomfortable to be like that when I go out and people want to like talk to me or ask me about things. I always step back now. Like I very rarely go to the shows anymore.
Bless you.
Totally makes sense.
But the younger community, everybody wants to pretend that they have an amazing life, and then everybody wants to pretend they got money. Everybody, it's like
keeping up with the Joneses.
It's just totally, like, don't act like you can trick if you don't really got it.
Right.
The fake it till you make it thing is a real thing in some respect.
Yes.
But these days, it's very easy.
Well, it's
to
fake
break
it till you make it if you're faking it in that realm. If you're showing up and you're working, it's not fake it till you make it because you said it on your Instagram story or you tweeted it that you're doing something. Like, that's not real. Like,
some people fake it just to legitimize their fake.
Exactly. Yes.
Like they literally
they're validating.
They're validating the persona they want to perceive by acting like they're doing more than they've ever done.
Yeah. And they're not actually doing anything.
I literally do not think ever if anyone thinks I'm doing what I'm doing or not. Like, I have things going on. Whether someone really thinks I have things going on or not, that's great. I don't care.
I'm like my own worst critic. Yeah. Like, for me, like, I'm in therapy, and my therapist tells me all the time, she'll say, like, Clarissa, you tell me, like, that you feel like you're not doing anything towards your goals, and then I ask you, what have you done? And you give me a list of things that you're doing. And she's like, I think you don't actually acknowledge that you are doing things. And it's like never being enough. Like, if I look back on a year and a half ago when I decided to make a change in my life to where I am now, it's clear that I've made drastic changes. Yeah. But when I'm sitting with myself, and Candace will tell me too, she's like, I'll be like, I feel lazy, and she's like, lazy? What are you talking about? Yeah. Like, you're grinding, you're getting new clients, you're from just putting yourself out there. And Amanda will tell me that too, like, she's like, you just tell, like.
Sometimes it's hard when you're working towards a goal to see that what you're doing to get there is actually little achievements.
Well, it's like the goalpost keeps moving.
It's like little achievements. And you might never reach wherever you actually want to go.
Right.
But you've made achievements that, whether you notice it or not, the people around you that actually give a shit to pay attention will notice. Regardless.
Well, it's the small wins that, like, you know.
Like, I think that hustle speaks way louder than the people that want acknowledgement for their hustle.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Because, like, if you have people that are around you that actually care about you, they're going to realize the changes you've made to better yourself, that if you were, like, always talking about it, like, going on your TikTok or your Instagram, like, oh, man, I'm doing this, this, and that.
Right.
Like, you're just wanting validation. When ultimately, in my opinion, they're not doing it for the right reasons, right? They want to perceive, like, as they're getting older or as they're moving in their career, it's moving in a way that people expect when nothing has changed.
Right.
But when you're doing something without wanting the validation, then you're being hard on yourself to kind of push yourself forward. You're going to make strides that you might not notice, but in 10 years, you're going to say, wow, this, like, who I am now, because of all the steps that I took, I'm completely a different person.
Right. Exactly. And I think that it's contrary to, like, popular opinion. It is okay to be hard on yourself, as long as you're self-aware that you're hard on yourself. So that when the time comes and you need to be like, all right, I've been hard on myself for the past month, I need a week to relax, I need 5 days.
And you got to give yourself wins.
Yeah.
Right?
That's what
you have to acknowledge the fact that, like, yo,
as long as
I might not be where I want to be, but I'm going in that direction.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's what I struggle with.
And I think visualization and writing things down.
Manifestation.
I said visualization.
And both.
Sure.
But writing things down is manifesting.
Writing things down, like goals, and meeting them, as for me, is like a huge thing, because, you know, there's studies that have been shown when you write it physically down, it connects to your brain rather than typing it out and like a to-do list. Writing it actually down and then completing it within a goal, with even if it's not within the parameters that you've set, but you've attained that goal, like it just connects with your brain. And I think that if you stick to your goals and you just remind yourself every so often that you are doing your best and you push yourself, you know, that's one thing.
Yeah.
Is you push yourself and you keep pushing yourself, because if you know, all you have in life is these little wins until you get the big one. And then when you get the big one, you're going to want a bigger one. And when you get a bigger one, and it's going to continue to move for the rest of your life until you're done, you know, until there's nothing left.
And it should move.
And it should, you know. And so, I think that's...
I really think that's why it's cool with every end of your podcast, you kind of have like your highs and lows of the week.
Yeah.
Because it forces you to kind of recognize a positive thing that you did in that week. Whereas like, we can all criticize ourselves to negativity all day. I could give myself a negative attribute for myself every single day.
Every hour.
This is why you're not doing enough. This is why you're fucking this up, or whatever the case may be. But when you do it, it's like, you know, you have to kind of look back on the week and be like, hey, there was good moments in my week, right? And I think that's super important, because when you're ambitious and you're trying to reach a goal, you know, outside of like, you know, recognition from your peers. I think if you don't have those like little internal wins for yourself, it almost makes it like it's not worth it. Right. Because you're just like, you know, oh, I'm not here. I don't have 100 followers yet. Oh, next week I don't have 1,000 followers. Like, why does it feel like everyone was able to do it quicker? Is because you didn't see the years that they were doing it and no one knew who they were.
And also, like, I'm doing it when I say as a nobody, I mean it as I'm not an influencer. I'm not someone that has a following that's like big, you know? So for me, like having 88 subscribers on YouTube in what is it, December, January? 4 months.
Let's not make you do math.
In 4 months or something, like 16 weeks, 88 subscribers. YouTube is hard
And you started YouTube midway. You didn't start YouTube right off of
I did.
episode 1.
I did.
Oh, I didn't follow you.
Yeah. No, I started I did, my plan was always Spotify and YouTube. Like, I was like, let me put it on both because I wanted video. And video holds me accountable to like really show up and like feel good about the way I look and like all of that. It makes me present to be on camera. And that's why I did it like that. And all the podcasts I love are on camera. I can watch them if I want to watch them. But yeah, that's my sister-in-law gave me that idea to do the high and low of the week, and I try to include it in every episode because it does remind me to like.
So what is this week?
Well, that's at the end of the episode.
Okay.
You're trying to end the episode?
I know. I don't know how long it is. So
it's usually quick. Okay. Like I say, like one low and one high, and usually my low is still a high somehow if I look at it the right way, and with the right glasses on that day, my rose-colored lenses. But yeah, thank you for saying all that. It's definitely, I think, for all of us, really cool to see the growth in each other. And I'm proud of both of you with, you know, all of the life changes and really hard life changes, which I won't get into, but like serious, not bullshit life changes and being able to manage them and push forward. You okay?
Yeah, just.
Are you laughing?
I'm laughing at you saying something on the street before.
Oh my God. What did I say on the street?
Leave it to Joe. It's totally like outside.
I'll cut it. What did I say? So we're gonna talk about love and what love looks like.
Yeah.
To the three of us.
My definition of love from when I was younger to now are completely different. So it's not bizarre to assume that obviously 3 different individuals would think of love differently.
Yeah.
Like when I was younger, like love was like someone that's like, it was exciting for me. Love when I was younger was even a little toxic.
Of course, yeah.
It was like, you know, a little obsessive and like, you know, this like kind of wanting to control the scenario.
Yes.
Now, you know, when I met Aleda, you know, my fiance, it wasn't easy in the beginning.
Was this a COVID?
No.
Okay.
Her and I met last summer.
Oh,
Summer.
really?
Yeah, we were just together for like October will be 2 years.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, October will be 2 years. But it wasn't like easy in the beginning. In fact, we did couples therapy. That's how not easy it was.
Oh, wow.
We just chose each other amongst the bullshit. So
I think that's a
and I knew I loved her from pretty early on. You know, she was easy to get along with. Her and I, like Joey and I, we have similar backgrounds of like, you know, our upbringing and things like that I was able to relate to that I wasn't able to relate to, you know, in previous relationships. Like my ex-wife came from like a totally like sound home. Parents were always around, no fighting in the house.
Right.
Whereas that's not the upbringing I had. Yeah, it's not. That's not what and you know, I've kind of moved past that stuff. I've forgiven my father, and you know, before he passed, I forgave him for all that, and you know, I respect the hustle and the grind that my mom did to kind of get me everything that I had. But there's trauma there that, intentional or not, there was trauma.
Of course.
So you know, she had similar situations that, you know, her and I were able to connect on, and through that, we were able to understand each other that maybe in the past, other women I was with didn't understand, right? They didn't understand that, like, you know, you can get smacked for not eating your dinner. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, so, like, you know, that's just something.
That's why he smacks him around now.
Yeah.
I got smacked up for sure.
Yeah, I think our generation was like the last kids that really got hit.
Oh, yeah.
But.
Oh, yeah, my little sister never got her ass beat.
No, kids will never get it now. They get yelled at and they're like talking to the principal.
Well, it's hard because my brother told my mom once, I'm calling child services. He said ASPC. Honestly, it fits. Mom, I'm calling ASPCA. You are feral right now. My brother said to my mom, I'm calling child protective.
Child perspectives.
SVU.
I'm calling SVU. My brother said I'm calling Child Protective Services. My mom picked up the phone, called Child Protective Services. They picked up the phone. She looked at my brother and she went here and cracked him in the head with the phone. He was like, click. She said, go ahead. They're going to put you somewhere else. They're going to beat the shit out of you at the new home. Trauma.
That's a good line. It's true.
My mom, she said, go ahead, let a new family take you. Goodbye. Yep, my mom ain't no joke.
When I was like a teenager, there was like, you know how like they have those TV shows like The Maury Show? There was like and they did a documentary recently on this on Netflix about a guy that used to like take kids from their homes and like bring them to a camp.
Like, my brother went.
So
my brother went.
Yeah, so my mom used to be like, "Oh, you want to act crazy?"
You're talking about the program.
Yeah,
oh,
she was like, she's like, I'm gonna come sign you off because I can't handle it.
So I want to have my brother do an episode. My brother was literally in Casa by the Sea, which is in the yes. So when my brother
is that one of those where they come and gamble in the middle of the night?
Yeah, that is the guy.
So my brother, that's the show, worldwide, whatever the name of the thing was. Yeah, it's crazy. He got sent. I want to have him do an episode with me to talk about that experience. Fucking wild. Yeah. So what were you talking about? Oh, what love looks like.
Yeah, it just I think what I thought love looked like when I was younger probably was like this, you know, toxic thing, which I don't like now. It's just not the same for me. Like now having, you know, she's 8 months in like a week or like 8 months next week.
Right.
So my love for her, like, you know, we connected on different levels that I've not connected with other people for like our upbringing and stuff like that. But seeing her go through it, and I mentioned this last week at the shower, seeing her go through like what looked to be torture and never really complain about it. Like I have a different love for her knowing that I don't have to, like I have someone that's a real partner. I can rely on her the same way she can rely on me because all the things she went through and didn't kind of complain about it and she pushed through it without needing to be like, she didn't expect me to praise her for going through it. She just kind of grinded through like having fractured her back in 2 places, you know, being pregnant, you know.
That is so crazy.
Having pains where she never had pains before and
falling through a whole level of an apartment.
This guy.
Ed's fiance is 8 months pregnant and she literally slipped and fell in their apartment and fractured her spine in 2 places. That is not funny. What is funny is that Ed, at his baby shower last week, was telling us the story, and he said to Joey, Aleda slipped and fell through
he said the tiles were new and broke, and I thought that she fell
He goes, she fell through into the next apartment.
I just feel like, without saying, it would have been a more serious scenario.
I know, I agree.
Had she fell through a level.
If she fell through the apartment, you guys need to move immediately. And you need to sue immediately.
And had her being there walking no problem would be like a miracle.
That would be insane, But yeah, it's true, like.
And just knowing that, like,
and it's nice that you recognize that she is experiencing this new level of pain and what women's bodies do to have a baby is fucking insane.
It's insane.
And not enough men recognize it.
She literally showed us a TikTok. She showed me a TikTok literally last night of like how it starts from like conception to then. I was like, there's more stuff than I need to know.
It's insane, but it's nice that you can say like,
yeah,
this woman is going through things and she can say that she's in pain and whatever, but she's like just being beautiful and showing up and being present and doing what she has to do. And obviously your views of love are now different.
Yeah.
And what do you feel like love is?
It's a loaded question. I think I look at a dog one way and I love it a certain way. I look at you one way, I love you a certain way. I love my brothers one way, and I love, you know, certain women occasionally one way. And it lasts as long as it lasts, you know.
So love for you is fleeting.
Love is subjective, I think, very subjective. And it's very difficult for me to love somebody for a really long time, especially, you know, the women that I generally come in contact with because of the nature of my life. You know, I think a lot of them don't love themselves, and I think that, you know, I think that they are always seeking an external love, and they think that they're going to get it from me because I'm generally a giving and a loving person for a lot of people and a lot of reasons. But I think that, you know, it's in my opinion, if they want that love, they need to find that love in themselves first. They need to buy themselves the flowers.
Well, that's with anyone. You have to love yourself first.
They need to buy themselves the dinner. They need to go find, you know, go take themselves on that vacation instead of go and just try to find somebody to love them, you know. And, you know, I've been guilty of that when I was a kid and growing up. And I've learned from my mistakes, and as such, I now look at those people with, you know, I try to better them, but I'm not a school, you know, I'm not a therapist. So it's a lot of emotions and things go in my head when I'm asked that question, like, what does love mean to you? Because like I said, there's so many different types of loves in my mind. And when love needs to be unconditional and genuine, and I truthfully at 35 don't think I've ever felt that in my life, in a romantic setting,
right?
You know, and I don't know if I ever will, but if it happens, when it happens, I think I'll just know,
right?
And you know, I've thought that I've had like genuine, unconditional love, but it's always come with some type of condition, even though it seems like it's not.
I don't even think that is true. To be fair, I don't think love can be unconditional.
I agree with you. I think that there's always conditions, and like you said, which actually this is something that I learned from Vin, who like passed, and he told me, because when we were dating, I was used to like chaos and toxicity and like all of this stuff, and he definitely had that. We had that eventually, but he was the one that taught me that like the calm that we had was like love. Like he said, like love isn't the chaos and the crazy. It's when
peace of mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
And as chaotic as he was actually the one that taught me that.
Yeah.
Where like he said, you think love is like this crazy situation, and I was young and I had all this chaos around me, and you know, as many demons as he had, he still had that, like he loved me so much, and like he was the one that gave me that, and that message holds true for me from that relationship forward, where I didn't want chaos anymore, and I understood that love was peace and love was calm, and love does have conditions. It's just like you said, you guys chose each other, and like I think that that's what it is. It's you choose the person, and then are you gonna work towards it?
I beg to differ that there is no such thing as unconditional love, because love, if it's real, is not something you can just flip a switch off.
Well, conditional doesn't mean flipping a switch, though.
I'm just saying, but you can love a person no matter what, even though you may hate them for something that they have done. You know, not saying that has happened here, cheating or anything, but you still love them unconditionally. Like you still love them.
I know what you're saying.
And I think that I still, to this point in my life, have not felt that to the level, you know, that it needs to be. And it's terms of like what I think about now is like I've always enjoyed the chaos because I strive on it, but that's my life is more chaotic than ever. So when I come home, quote unquote, I need peace. Yeah. And if that person is still understands what I go through on a daily basis, like genuinely understands my lifestyle, knows what I'm going through, like, and then still somehow brings additional chaos, even though it's unnecessary, then that's, you don't love me the way that I should be loved.
Well, you also have to understand that love is ultimately a feeling, right? Yeah. You're gonna intensely feel one way or the other.
Well, you need more than love.
In any emotion, you know, there's levels of anger, hatred, you know, life, friendship, all that, and love. Yeah. So someone could love you in, I guess, in a way of saying unconditionally, but that love is not going to always have the same intensity as like the beginning.
But you also have to understand too that there's like the other side of, like, you have your lifestyle and someone can be understanding of that, but they have a side too, where like, and I'm not saying that you don't. I'm just saying that there has to be.
About who I am.
No. I know that, but like, I know that. But what I'm saying is like, if you have a woman that's like understanding of your lifestyle and all of those things, and then she needs more, wants more, like that side is fair too. Like
it's fair up to a certain point.
It doesn't mean that she doesn't love you though. It just means that. Are you going to sacrifice certain things sometimes to...
Sometimes I don't have, like recently, I don't have anything to sacrifice. That's the point. It's like, hey, this is my goal, is to win. You want to win with me? Understand that I'm sacrificing my entire life and my days and my sanity and hanging out with friends and seeing my brother and like whatever the fuck else. I'm sacrificing all of that so that we can win together. And if that means that you can't go to the fucking Hamptons one time, if that means you can't have a weekend off where you want to go to bougie restaurants or whatever the fuck that means, the point of the fact is that like, you ain't sacrificing with me. And when we get to the Hamptons, who the fuck is going to pay for it? How do you think you got paid? Like, how do you think we attained that? You didn't do it. So shut the fuck up. That's the way I think about it. You can broadcast that. I don't care.
Joey just Google it.
Mic drop.
So I just think that relationships are, I don't even think they're 50-50, which I've said this before. I think relationships are give and take. Some days you can give 20 and the other person gives the rest, because I can't do math.
Unfortunately, it's tug of war because of the situations you put yourself in.
For you, it's by choice, I think. For me, I think like I resonate with what you said. Like once you choose the person and you're like, okay, like, we're doing this, like, and you both choose it.
And also, they have to come in your life at the right time.
Of course,
like
timing is everything.
If you're not in the right place for yourself, right? Because like how Joe was saying, it's up to someone else to make themselves happy, to love themselves.
Right.
If either one of those people in the relationship are not at that place, it'll never work no matter how right they would be for each other. Of course,
timing is definitely a big factor. Age, timing, where you're at in your life financially, where you're at with yourself.
I could have met Aleda 5 years ago, we wouldn't be together, not having a kid.
You wouldn't have been, no, timing is definitely everything. And with you, like your life is so stressful and chaotic, it definitely will take a very special type of person to be able to enter it. And I think that person has to have their own things going on.
Exactly.
That you are also like...
Do something with your life, pussycat. Stop sitting around waiting for me to fuck you.
That's Scarface. It's a joke. I was only kidding. I got one.
Look at the pelican fly. Come on, pelican.
See, I got one back for you. Exactly. Me and my dad always said that. I was only kidding. Well, anyway. It was really nice to catch up with you guys. I'm going to end the episode with the high and low of the week, and I'm going to let them also join in on this. So, what's your high and low of the week?
No, that goes first.
What's your high and low of the week?
So, my high of the week, obviously, you guys are both there. I just had my baby shower last weekend. The amount of gifts and everything, everybody showing up was just overwhelmingly. I'm super appreciative of everybody that showed up. And obviously, that's where I decided to ask my now fiance if she'd marry me. So, without a doubt, that is the high of my
year
of my life at the moment. Yeah, in 30 days, that might be different because my daughter will be born in 30 days from today. But, and my lows of the week is just, I wouldn't call it a low, but a frustration. Like, there's things that I'm trying to get done that the process is just more challenging than I was willing to admit. So,
right.
It's just having to kind of continue to show
yourself.
up and, and know that, there's still a journey ahead to kind of get things done. But, that's life. It's not, I wouldn't call it a low of my week. It's just, it's another
A bump.
week.
Yeah, of another week. What about you?
I would say my high this week is, we're looking to expand outside of the usual spectrum and grow the business and keep scaling. On the flip side, I would say the low is, and again, I don't think it's a low, like what I would say is that there are, people that I've worked with for a very long time, some would even consider, even at a small capacity of friendship, that we've had to start questioning if they're genuine or if they have different motives, and it's something that has really become to the forefront of our attention, and we're used to it, in this line of work, but it just makes you question everything else.
Right. Yeah. It's down.
And it's not a low, but it's also not pleasant. So.
My high of the week is this. I'm really excited that I have amazing friends that I like hearing them talk. I like hearing their opinions on things. I'm really blessed that I have friends that support me in every and any endeavor that I'm in, like this. And it's like really cool for the people that show up for me. It means so much more than like any stranger in the world. So thank you both for joining me in the girls' room.
Thanks for having us.
Very nice. It was fun. And my low of the week is that I could not get an episode out this week that just passed. Life happens, and I have been showing up through the hard times, but this week was harder for reasons I don't want to share. And it just doesn't mean that, you have a blip in the road and you still show up again the following week. And even though the week was hard, today's Sunday, I haven't slept all week, I've been so busy, and we all still showed up today to get it done. And that's important because you got to do things for yourself. And the girls' room is for me, and I love you guys. So thanks for coming. All right, I love you guys. I'll see you next week. If you have any questions, problems, concerns, stories you want to share, please email them to tgrpod.nyc@gmail.com. Love you. Bye.
It costs like $8 for a .com. You should buy it with me.
Yeah, but it was taken, I think.
Yo, usually podcasts let us plug our fucking Instagrams in there now.
Oh, I should. Yeah, you want me to?
No.